Welcome back everyone to Magius Plays the Metroid series. Today we are going to get started on Metroid 2, Return of Samus. This is the sequel to the original Metroid and was originally released on the Game Boy. It has a few improvements over the original Metroid. For example, you can actually shoot down. However, there are a few downsides to it as well. As you can see, you can't really see a whole lot on this screen. There's Samus, who takes up a huge chunk of the screen, and not that much around her that you can see. Still, this does make things a little bit easier than in the original game. You can duck and shoot to hit enemies that were too low for you to hit beforehand. You still have the long shot, which, granted, is a big step up from the dinky little pea shooter Samus started the first game off with. And you start off with the Morph Ball. However, this does still run into a few of the issues that the original Metroid game ran into. Because this was released on the original Game Boy, there's not a whole lot of different colors you can see through the game. You have basically had one color, and if you stuck it into the Game Boy Color, that got upgraded to 2. So, that's a little less than optimal, but there's still a fair bit of fun to be had in this game. And heck, you start off with missiles, and the Morph Ball. And that's about it. We're going to need a lot more stuff before we can get through this entire game. But, unlike the original Metroid, I'm not going to be using any maps on this game or abusing save states. Because this game actually includes a save system. And unlike the original Metroid, you have refill points scattered throughout the map to help you refill your health and ammo when you come across them. They're not necessarily the best place items, but there's enough of them to get you through safely. Now, hopefully before too much longer, we'll also see the introduction of the other reason why I won't be using many save states in this run. And that is going to be the save system. Scattered throughout the map are save points that, well, you can save your game at. Which they added in because, as a portable game, you're limited to maybe a couple hours of gameplay tops. Now, while this game can be completed within that time frame, generally people are going to just sit down and play for 10 to 20 minutes, so you need some way to save the game so you can come right back where you were. This game includes save points so that you can get to a certain point in the game and just save and quit there. But since we've beat the first Metroid, this way is opened up to us now. If we had come this way earlier, we would have been blocked by a large pool of lava, which if you remember from the first game, lava hurts. And yes, lava still hurts here. And there's a whole lot more of it here than in the last game. But if you take out the Metroids, get rid of the lava, you're good to go. Unfortunately, this game is a lot more linear than the original Metroid was. So, yeah, even though you can't tell that it's supposed to be lava, that is lava. Earlier we came across water, which looks very similar, but doesn't hurt you. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the health and missile stations are not very close together, so you still need to make sure you keep your health up. Unfortunately, enemies don't do quite as much damage in this game as they did in the original. Well, they can still beat you up pretty fast if you're not careful, but you're not going to be dropping an energy tank pretty much right out of the gate. Let's see. I think we can find something up this way. And if not, well, that's part of the fun of these games. Even though Metroid 2 still has some of the issues from the original Metroid, because it is a lot more linear of a game, it's a lot easier to keep track of where you are and where you're supposed to be. In comparison with the original Metroid, you only have a very small area that you're trying to explore at any given time. And there's not too much in any given area that you need to go back and look through with something you found later. However, you still need to be careful because health drops are still very rare. You can't tell the small health drops from the big health drops, and the big health drops are very difficult to find. Can't go through there. Don't have the bombs yet. So, it's still easy to get lost and not remember the way back to where you want to go, but it's not nearly as bad as it is in the original game. And here we have the bombs. These work just like in the original game. Set the bombs, and eventually they'll send you flying. If you have the timing right. There we go. You can also string them together to bomb jump. I'm not sure why it works better in this setup than my previous setup, but it is what it is. Anyways, there's an area we couldn't get through up here, so let's go see where that takes us, shall we? Of course, as with any game of this era, and most games of this genre, when you leave an area, everything respawns when you come back. There we have our first energy tank. And we have a whole new area to explore. Looks like that's all the further up we can go right now. It's going to be a while before we can get up. Actually, no, not terribly long. It shouldn't be too much longer till we find another upgrade in here that will let us go even higher, albeit more slowly. And here we have a Metroid shell, which means that very soon we have another Metroid that we need to deal with. And that's one of the twists that this game throws into the lore. Instead of just having one type of Metroid that you have to deal with, you have multiple different Metroids. And that right there is the spider ball. It's a useful upgrade for getting around, but it is very slow. So just crawl on up here. I may not look like it's very slow right now, but believe me, it's a lot slower than I would like it to be. So nothing in there. Part of it's you basically have to go through every single piece of the terrain you're trying to go over, which takes a while. And your speed isn't noticeably increased as you're going through it. Okay, looks like nothing there. Let's go around here, see where this takes us. And this is probably where the next Alpha Metroid is. Yeah, the Alpha Metroids are really easy to take care of. Hit them with 5 shots, they're done. And hit the pause screen, we can see how many Metroids are left in this area, and how many are left total. Right now we have 37 Metroids total, and 3 Metroids left in this area. Don't know exactly where they are yet, but we still have a lot of space to explore in here. Yeah, I won't be doing this for all of the rooms we come through. This is just so you can see just how slow this is. Oh. Looks like I shouldn't have stopped when I did. Oh well. I'm going to see what that little thing I just glimpsed was. And I'll see you here in a bit. Okay. Looks like it's just a health refill. Would kind of be nice to have, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. that brings us back around to here. Which puts us... puts us someplace other than I was expecting. Well, this'll do. This lets us get a couple missile upgrades. Okay, nothing there. And that puts us at the top of the section we couldn't get up to the top of before. If we just come back here, we could just spider climb, or spider ball up to the top there. But by going the way we did, don't have to worry about that. But there's still plenty to explore in here. So let's see what there is to find. More missiles. Always a good thing. More missiles again. And something we need to be a little tricky with. If you remember the trick that I used to get out of the ice beam area in the original Metroid, that's the same trick that we need to do there. I thought there was a hidden hole there. And that just puts us right outside where we got the spider ball. I'm not sure how they expected us to find that, to get a clue about where the spider ball was, and not find the spider ball first. But apparently that's the way they did it, so... yeah, it is what it is. Now let's just get back to the save point. I don't think there's anything else really to worry about in here. Or maybe there is. As I said earlier, it can be a little bit tricky to maneuver around in here. Oh. And here we have the ice beam. Much like the original Metroid, you can only have one beam equipped at a time. That's why it said, get the ice beam for the first time. We won't be holding on to this for very long in this run-through. While it is fairly powerful, it doesn't really help us get around very much. And there are other weapons in the game that are significantly more powerful than this one. So, we want to use those as much as possible, but we will need to pick this up again before we finish the game out. Fortunately, there is a place right at the end where we can get it again. And not much I could have done about that. And I believe the way out should be right up here. Well, the save point is anyways. Which is what I was looking for. So that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Join me next time when we continue with our journey into the home of the Metroids. Until then, Magius out.